And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the virtual town hall. It's your girl, Aisha Taylor Issa, founder and CEO of the Sisters in Business Enterprise of Brands. And I am so excited about tonight, y'all. I know y'all probably ain't seen me in a minute in this capacity because of many of the reasons we'll talk about on tonight. But nevertheless, I'm here. I'm alive and well. We are here and alive and well, and just really excited about tonight's conversation. And so, if you are seeing this, please share this broadcast, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. Go ahead and hit that share button. Tag some folks. Let us know where you are joining us from. Okay, we like to connect in the comments, so we're gonna chat it up in the comments. We want to hear from you. So while there will be a panel and you'll hear from our panelists and guests, we want to hear from you. So we will be looking at your comments. We'll be asking your questions, and we want your voices to be heard as a part of this conversation. So again, thank you for joining us. Go ahead and hit that share button. We've got folks on YouTube. We've got folks on Facebook and Instagram, and we're going to get this party started. Tonight's conversation is about the blessing and the beautiful burden. I mean, it's a blessing too, but the beautiful burden of entrepreneurship as a Black woman founder. And I have some amazing Black woman founders who are going to be joining us tonight. So I see we got some folks from Dallas in the house. So yes, happy to see that. And let us know where you're joining from. Also, if you have a business, shout it out in the comments, so that we can shout you out on the live. We are all about our sisters in business in this community. All right, we got Destin, Florida. All right, y'all come on in the rooms. So let me go ahead and bring up our panelists, because we have a very detailed, in-depth conversation that needs to be had, and I don't want to delay. But please make sure you hit that share button on whatever platform you are on. If you're on YouTube, share that link to Facebook. If you're on Instagram, tag some folks, share it with some folks who need to be on this conversation. All right, so without further ado, I'm super excited to bring up some of my favorite sisters in business. And to a degree, we finally made it out the group chat, okay? Because we've been having this conversation in the group chat, talking about the need for this type of platform, the need for this discussion. And with all that's been going on over the last weeks, we knew it was time. So first up, I'm going to call on, let me see who's available. Let's bring up Sherdon Reynolds. Hey, girl. Hey.
Listen, let me unmute. Hey, girl.
Right. Hey, we have Sherdon Reynolds. She is the CEO of She Prints It. All right. And I'm not going to do their full intros now because they're going to introduce themselves. Okay. Many of you know I'm a preacher, and what we say is the best way to introduce a preacher is to let them preach. So I'm gonna let them preach about themselves and their business. Next up, we have my girl Ashley Muhammad.
Hi guys. Hi.
Yes. Hey, girl.
Hi. Hey, boo.
And then none other than Michaela Pabone. Is it Pabone? I should have asked about the last
name. That's correct.
The founder and CEO of Dressed in Joy. Hey, girl.
Hey.
All right. And then last, but certainly not least, my girl, my sister from another mister, Kalila of Mess in a Bottle. Hey, girl. Gotta come off mute.
Hey, y'all.
Hey. All right, y'all. So we are here. We are in the building. Are y'all seeing the comments? Because the folks is up in here. We got Jersey in the house, Myrtle Beach, ATL, Philly, DMV. Okay. I love to see it. So again, make sure y'all hit that share button on whatever platform you are on, so that you too can be a part of this conversation. We know some sisters in business who need to be a part and who have experienced the beautiful burden of entrepreneurship, particularly as a Black woman founder. So we're going to jump right into it. I want to have these ladies do a brief introduction of themselves, just in case you do not know who they are. I want to make sure you do. So I'm going to jump over to Ashley. Please, sis, introduce yourself. Tell everybody about you and a little bit about your brand. And what is one word that you would use to describe your entrepreneurial journey?
Hi, everybody. My name is Ashley Muhammad. I am from Harlem, New York, but I now reside in Georgia. My company is Be Iconic, where we kind of specialize in making women feel better about themselves through our accessories and clothings and, that whole thing. Our overarching mission is to change the world one self-esteem at a time. And so that is kind of the little spiel of my company. And for me, the one word that I would say that describes my entrepreneurial journey would be faith.
I love it. We'll get more into that. Thank you. All right, Kalila.
Yep, I'm here. Why? I couldn't hear Ashley.
You could have?
I
wonder why.
I don't know.
Say
Okay.
something, Ashley.
Hey, girl.
You can hear her on your end. I might need to, I don't know. Maybe it's something on mine. I
Can
can't
you hear
her.
me? Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, we're gonna go. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Oh, introduction.
Yes, introduction
myself.
and one word to describe your entrepreneurial journey.
I wonder what word I will use. So hi everyone. My name is Kalila Wright. I have an apparel brand called Mess in a Bottle. We put messages on t-shirts and they come packaged in a reusable bottle. And the one word I would use to describe my entrepreneurial journey is definitely a big old mess.
How appropriate. Michaela?
Sorry, I turned my camera off because I was eating my dinner.
That's okay. Sorry.
Hey, I'm
girl.
Michaela Pabon. I am the owner, founder, designer, creative everything of Dressed in Joy. And my mission is to provide women with joyful clothing for them from their closet that they don't have to think too hard about. We want you to feel joyful and feel happy, feel good in what you're wearing without fussing too much about it. So that's what I do. One word to describe my entrepreneurial journey. Ooh. Tough. That's all I got.
That part. So true. And I should have asked you too, but Michaela, how long have you been in business?
Oh, I've been in business for about a little over 6 years now.
Okay. Kalila, how long you been in business?
10 whole years.
10 whole years. What about you, Ashley?
Same. 10.
All right. So we got some longevity in here, y'all. Y'all should know we are not new to this. We are true to this. Okay. Sherdon.
Hey, y'all. I'm Sherdon. I'm the CEO of She Prints It, where we help businesses increase revenue, relationships, and referrals through promotional products. We are an award-winning company that also has had the pleasure of working with major corporations and also being the very first Black woman-owned company to work with Staples. One word that describes this journey is interesting. And I've been in business for 9 years.
Interesting. Absolutely. I feel that. And y'all, Aisha here, Sisters in Business brands. We've been in business 2017, so almost 10 years. This would be the 9th year. And my one word is I'm gonna be positive. It's hard to be rewarding. It's been rewarding in some capacities. It's been rewarding. But I could pick a few others. I could pick a few others. So listen, one thing that I know for sure, having worked with Black women brands, particularly for the last 9 years, is that we do not give ourselves the credit that we deserve. And we
Absolutely.
often do not toot our own horns like they need to be tooted. Right. And so for the next couple of minutes, I want y'all to pop y'all ish. Okay. I want you to tell us just how dope you are. I want you to share, because we need the people to know, right, that you deserve to be here. You are qualified, more than qualified to be here, because you've done the work. So can you share a little bit about, or a lot of it, about some of your accomplishments, maybe your highest grossing revenue year, maybe how much you've grossed since starting, one of the highest achievements that you believe you've had, because also, besides the fact that we don't support and promote ourselves enough, we want those who are watching to see that it's possible, right? Because we're going to get to some heavy stuff, right? There's plenty of that. But we don't want to just have this, overarching theme that it's all bad and it's all heavy. So let's talk a little bit about some of the incredible things that have happened in your 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first since nobody else volunteered.
I just was about to say, go ahead.
So I'll start with my highest grossing year. That was 2022. And that was, I want to say 540K. I had 1 month. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had 1 month that was like over 100. That was like my first time ever having a 6-figure month. And it was in a February, which I know is like usually the hardest month to gross anything. So that's one of the biggest accomplishments. And then, I mean, just really doing it all myself. Like my husband helped for a couple of years in there, but between the two of us, like it's just been us. So that's I think that's pretty dope that we've done all that we have. I have my first runway show in 2024.
Which runway? Which runway?
Oh, New York Fashion Week.
Okay, thank you. Don't leave that part out. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Kalila.
And Michaela has had some good name celebrities wear her brand as well. There's that too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So for me, I think, I mean, I've done a lot that I'm proud of. I think our highest year was around like 2 million in maybe 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. I think something I am proud of is I was able to employ several Black women to work for my brand, as well as I've been on national television with Mark Cuban. I've done some partnerships with YouTube, Google, and some other Facebook as well. So I've done a lot of things, I think, that I'm pretty proud of with my brand in the last 10 years.
Absolutely. And you should be. You most certainly should be. What about you, Ashley?
I'm horrible at this stuff. I really just think, honestly, the most incredible thing that I've done, I think, in the 10 years is just not give up, honestly and truly. Like they're numbers and they're the things, but I think none of that really matters in the grand scheme of things, especially collectively where we are in our, businesses. But I think that not giving up is probably the best thing that I've ever done, because I do feel that it is like a calling on my heart to do. And there's like a purpose and a deeper meaning behind it. And so for me, I think that honestly, the best thing that I've done when it comes to this brand in any capacity is just not give up. I've slowed down at times and kind of, because I'm a wardrobe stylist as well. So I've kind of tapped into other areas when I felt like, things here were like a little bit slower, but I never, ever given up. And I really just think that was the best thing that I could have done, honestly, in the last 10 years, for sure.
For sure. Absolutely. Seed to Shirt on YouTube says that's a word, Ashley. Yes, it is a word, a word. So thank you so much for sharing that. Shirt on?
No, like Ashley, clearly, since we next together to each other, our brains are connecting because yes, we've had some great financial success and have done, over 7 figures in business, but I'm just not big on like numbers in that way outside of, having to track them in my business because and I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. I just think that we value people based on what we think that's in their pockets versus what they're bringing to the universe. But what I am most proud of is that we have generated enough revenue that we were able to produce our own grant, promo with a purpose, and we were able to award a small business with marketing material to help them grow and elevate. And we were able to do that because of the corporate clientele that we were able to bring in, being awarded 3 years in a row. This is like my 3P year. I'm from Chicago, so 3P is what we be on it. But being awarded the best print and sign company in Georgia, and then like bittersweet, like I was saying earlier, just being the very first Black woman-owned partner with Staples Promotional Products Division. And I say bittersweet because it's like we shouldn't still be having first, but we are. And for me, it's like when I get in those positions, I want to open the door and then prop that thing open so other people can come through.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. Um, Shout out to Kim Roxy, who says, every one of these ladies are iconic, as you are, sis. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Glad to have you. So I'm sure y'all have all had this moment or this thought, right? Where you was like, why nobody told me about this part of entrepreneurship? Like, I don't know if I signed up for this. Okay. What are some of the things that you wish somebody had told you or that you had to find out the hard way on
Can I say something to that really quickly? I
Yes.
think that we are, which is why, I think later down the line we'll get into like, our stance as opposed to our customers' understanding and things of that nature. But we are really the first generation to do it in this way, right? Like are the people before us, like I was raised by an entrepreneur, and that was really all she knew. She never qualified for like an actual job. And so all she knew was hustle and bustle. And so I got a front row seat at it. But even then, in the capacity that she did it, it was nowhere near anything like what we are up against with social media and all the things that make it easier but make it harder at the exact same time. And so I think that there wasn't really anything that anybody could necessarily tell us of how to really grasp and understand this entrepreneur market under the lens of being so frontward facing on social media. There's a level of trauma that comes with that I don't think anybody else could have prepared us for, because we're the first generation to really experience it, honestly.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Ashley. I actually never thought about it that way. There have been some that have many who have been in business, right? But especially with us, many of us, being at or near that 10-year mark. 10 years ago, entrepreneurship for Black women did not look the way it looked right now. Like when we started Sisters in Business, at the time, there was no other major expo for particularly for Black women entrepreneurs, at the scale that ours was. There were things like for sisters only, the Black Expo, but they were not they were focused on Black people, but not necessarily a platform for Black women entrepreneurs. Now there are dozens, right? So there are some lessons that we definitely had to learn on our own, right? Because as you mentioned, things just do not look the way that they do now. But are there any things that have come up for you that you just were like, I had no idea? Like when I signed up to be an entrepreneur, I had no idea I would have to face this.
Although this is going to seem naive, I didn't realize the level of discrimination, I guess I should say, for loss of a better term, that I would experience within my own community.
Mm.
I wasn't prepared for, I knew the stigmas that were centered around Black businesses. And I think some of my naiveness was because my business services other businesses, and the majority of my clients are uh, Black or Black women, more specifically. And be very clear, the majority of them are thebomb.com. However, just the language, the tonality, um, the expectations that were placed on us. And when I say like the expectations, I mean like we all have heard like we got to be 2 times as good to, just be equal to, right, in the workplace and stuff like that. And we don't realize how much that mindset carried into the expectations we have of Black founders. And so it's like, you want me to charge you like Walmart, but don't treat you like Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just it was very interesting to have to maneuver through that.
So what I was thinking about was more or less how, I think what wasn't told. So I should really give credit to one of the first entrepreneur groups that I was in is called Brand Build Sell. So there's a woman by the name of, she created the mumbo sauce, Asha. Can't remember her last name right now off the top, but she was
Jones. I think it's Arsha Jones, right?
Jones, yeah. So she created and had a group, some years ago, about 10 years ago, that I was in. And it really kind of, helped me to kick off my brand. And I remember one time in the group, she made a post, and she had a t-shirt company as well. And she went off, to create a sauce company. And then, she now has it in the supermarket. But I remember her even talking about t-shirts, and, she was almost like, what happens when the fanfare like sort of dies? Like, what do you do then? Do you stop your business? Do you keep going? Do you reinvent yourself? And I think for me, and maybe similar to what the young lady said earlier in regards to like your naiveness, like your naivete. My boyfriend uses that word a lot because I think and there's a book that I love, it's called The Messy Middle, and that book talks about like the naiveness of entrepreneurship in the beginning. Like, you're so naive, you're so like excited because of the possibilities are endless. And I think what Ashley was talking about in regards to like keeping yourself going, it's like when you get to that messy middle, or even shit close to the messy end, you start to feel like, fuck, like, should I give up? Like, is this, like the naiveness wears off because it's so much weighing now on like your livelihood. So I think all of that being said, it made me think of like, I think one of the things I don't think many of us are prepared for within entrepreneurship is the reinvention. Like, what I'm learning in this space that I've been in the last couple of months / year and a half, maybe 2 years now, is entrepreneurship takes a lot of reinvention. And if we're looking at, the cues of other businesses and sort of seeing like, shit, what Wendy's has to do, what McDonald's sometimes has to do. And I know that their marketing dollars, and, please don't get that twisted. And, they have the capital, they actually have the manpower and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, sometimes some of this stuff gets a little stale, and we gotta reinvent. And that's where it's hard, because not only do we gotta reinvent, we also have to like, be trying to push the market. There's so much that weighs on us, to even get to that reinvention point. But I guess that's just what I wanted to bring up and say. I think that I didn't realize that like this thing that I created, and I had a vision for it. I didn't think that 10 years later, like, I know time changes and the thing, might change, but it has been really hard to reinvent myself and to reinvent, also the messaging and what I've created.
Absolutely. We cannot, I think that's something I've had to discover too, right? And I also think that entrepreneurship makes us think that we are these monolithic people, right? That can only do one thing, because that became the thing that we love, that became the thing that was working. But then when that thing is no longer working, what do we do? And that's where the reinvention, or as we love to call it, rebranding, or whatever you want to read it, becomes necessary. Because if you hold on to something that is not working just because you think it's the only thing that you can do, it's a recipe for disaster. Did anybody else want to add anything, just in terms of something you ain't know you had signed up for? So let's get into it. We ultimately came to have this conversation tonight, even though we have it pretty much every day in the DMs and on the group chat, is because of all of the chatter that has been happening lately, particularly around Hanifa, the brand, our fellow sister in business, who posted that she was pausing her business, because of the vitriol, backlash, terrible weight things that were said, all of these things, about her and her brand, as a result of a shipping delay that made a lot of people upset. And my first thought when this emerged was that this is not the first time we've been here, right? We see this, I feel like, periodically, like at least every quarter. There is some business who is, or some brand, or some entrepreneur who is facing the criticism or the scrutiny of the very audience that they have been serving. And so many think pieces, so many opinions have been shared. I honestly got tired of reading them because I felt like they were becoming redundant, and just everybody's an expert. Everybody's an expert. Everybody can say what you should have, would have, could have did, or what they should have, could have, would have did. And I think a lot of times those conversations lead us to nowhere when they are held in those isolated manners, where it's just a matter of people sharing their comments on a keyboard or posting their think piece, and that's it. Like, what comes as a result of it? So I want us to jump into that and just really hear some of your thoughts on this conversation about grace and accountability, right? Because those are really the two issues, right? Like, how is a brand held accountable but also extended grace, and more specifically, a Black woman owned brand? Because there is a difference. There is a difference. So y'all feel free to jump in. And I'm also going to pull some things from the comments. If you're in the comments, if you have a question or you have a thought, share it in the comments, and we'll plug it into the conversation as well.
I really think I understand why people were upset, right? I wasn't a customer. I didn't buy anything during her Honey for Friday sale. But, to say that things are going to be delivered at one time and then not get any communication until weeks after that date, I can understand why people were upset. What I don't understand, however, is the constant piling on of everyone, the think pieces and what everybody had to say about how she's running her business and what she's doing wrong. And it just was, it was a lot. And it started to feel like people were doing it for the engagement. Like, it just turned into, oh, I can talk about this and then get some likes and get some follows and get some whatever. And it just was like, come on, guys, we hear it. It's enough. Like, and then there were people saying good things, like influencers or whatever, talking about how much they love the brand or whatever, but that got drowned out by all of the negativity. So I just think there has to be a point where it's like, okay, it's enough. We hear that she made mistakes. Now let's give her the grace to resolve it and to fix it.
Absolutely. And it's like I said, it's just not. I wish that these types of things were isolated, right? Where it was just like, okay, this happened this one time, and we don't this. But it seems like every time, um, a black woman owned brand or a black owned brand, but today we're talking about the sisters, has an issue or makes a mistake, it just becomes um, this downpour of criticism, but we don't see the celebration when we do good things. Right? Like, it just seems like the very audiences that we were created to serve and have served well, right? Because obviously, if they're customers, for the most part, they're usually return customers, meaning they've gotten some level of good service from you if you're coming back to shop with them on their Black Friday sale. You normally did not just fall into their funnel, right? And so clearly, we've had some sort of customer business relationship for the most part. Yes, there will be new ones, but I don't know. A lot of it just seems insensitive and unfair. I'm gonna stop talking and let's hear from somebody else.
So, all right. So here's my take. I'm a little like, I've had my share of creating a mess, not per se like pre-orders, but I've had times in which, like it was just an influx that I couldn't handle and it became horrible. And people said whatever and wrote whatever and nasty messages, all that stuff, right? But I feel like when I got out my feelings, and this is just my opinion, like when I took a moment to get out my feelings, it was a learning lesson for me. Not with, I think the first conversation is about, like, we know why some brands have to have pre-orders, because it is too much of a heavy lift to try to order, and you don't know what your customers, no matter how much you could forecast. So one of the things that the customers don't know is that when we are making these orders, and especially right now, the way that things are so touch and go, and no matter how much somebody clicks, like, says, oh, I want it, you put it up, and maybe
Uh-oh.
And she went out.
Okay, we'll give her a minute to come back on. Did you want to jump in, Ashley?
Yes, I can, because I pretty much like I understand like what she's gonna. Think here she comes back.
Okay.
Oh, maybe not. But yeah, like no matter how we can I can't even tell y'all the amount of times that I'm so in my head hype about something, like, oh, I know this is gonna go. We've talked about this in our chat before, like, oh, this is it. And it keeps you up at night and you're thinking about like the marketing and all the things. And then you put it out into the world and it's like, womp womp. And you like, wait a second. Like, what? Go ahead, Boo. She's back. So she can finish.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I was just saying that sometimes, we put things out, like Ashley was, I'm sure, confirming, and then you spend all, there's minimums, there's quantities, there's the amounts that you have to invest, and especially her quality seems very, like high, and it's good. And so at the end of the day, if you want those things, sometimes instead of gambling and putting all that money up front, you have to, be smarter as business owners. So I get that. I think that, and again, the consumer doesn't understand that. I think and I hate to say this because I know this is the, like the tone. At the end of the day, we got to be better than the best. So that means that we got to prepare for shit not coming on time. We got to prepare to have like an email blast ready to go, a PR, something. And she also just had a baby. So, again, I've had, some of us have small children, so we get it. But at the end of the day, I think it's those contingencies. That's what we talked about before, was like, what are we not prepared for? I don't feel like we're prepared enough with the contingencies, with the braveness to say like, yo, like, I don't want the video after. I need the video probably before. And I mean, I made a mess where I was crying and like, I'm like, I'm trying my best. At the end of the day, it's like, gather yourself and tell the people what's going on. I understand that this is supposed to be here, whatever. And those are just, I think, the things that no matter how much we either think something is going to come in or happen, and make sure you have someone on your team that you're like, listen, if the orders aren't here by X date, pull the trigger. We sending out an email. We telling everybody we offering 20% off their next order, whatever it is. Like, I just feel like we have to be ready to know what to do when shit becomes a mess.
And you know what I think? I think that what Tamika, I just figured out how to see the comments. I feel
Oh, let me see. I can't see the comments. Oh, there you go.
But I think that what she said is very, very important, is that because I think we are learning right in real time how to be better entrepreneurs. And I think that there is some sense of, but I don't think that that part is ever going to really shift, of people being better customers, right? But I think that from our standpoint, the best thing that we can do is over communicate, like over. Yeah. I'm talking like send an email every 2 days if you have to, like, hey, like, it's me again, like, make it awkward, make it annoying, so that they can't ever say, because what happens is, what I really think it was is, what I really think is that everybody, the people that actually did like have an issue. Now, I, of course, am never going to agree with going to social media, because there are things in place, like there are things in place before you reach social, right? So for me, I'm gonna send a customer service email, because I actually did order from that sale, but because I am an entrepreneur, I'm not gonna complain about it, because I get it. Like, because here's the thing, what she tried to do was put a date that you would get it, because I'm very against pre-order. Like, as a whole, I'm against pre-order. And I did one situation with a sneaker company, and that was like another live for another time. But I don't like that model. I'll tell anybody, I'm cool. I'm not doing it, because I'm aware that people aren't going to necessarily read all the fine print. They're not gonna, I have a thing on my website where you have to click it, the terms and conditions, and they will still do chargebacks and things like that. So people don't even really read it. They'll click it just to get on to the next thing, and then whatever. But to go back to my initial point, right? People will, they won't ever be able to say that you didn't communicate with them, because I think what started as people's issue was communication, and then it snowballed into making videos for likes and clickbait, right? If there was no communication issue to give them that, they couldn't go there, because then what the very easy thing to do is just go right back and say, that's not true. You actually got an email this day, and this day. Right. And then when you do that, now there is nothing for them to combat, because again, God's still working on me. I'm not that healed, poised, I don't have a customer service voice down to a T. I'm going to absolutely say, like I just posted in my story the other day, is that truthful? Probably not. But why are you doing a chargeback and you in my DMs every day? You're mad that I'm not responding to your DMs about a business matter that you should be emailing me about, so you do a chargeback. Yes, I'm gonna put it in my story. Like, so for me, it's like I haven't reached that. I don't know if it's like maturity or what, but I am very big on teaching people how to treat me. Like, I do that in my regular everyday life. And because it is me running this business, until I have a team and I no longer have to see the emails and the DMs and all those things, I'm still a real person. I'm absolutely going to have something to say. I'm going to be like, actually, that's not true. You're doing a chargeback and you didn't even reach the days that you agreed to in terms of conditions. So
can I jump in with, oh, sorry, Ashley.
No, go ahead.
I just was going to say, so that is, again, and I had to learn that. And again, everybody may not agree with this. I did have to learn the hard way to, like, honestly try to get out my feelings as a business owner. Like, and I had to tell myself, there's no money there. Get out your feelings. I had somebody, like, I had really kind messages in the beginning where when things started to become a mess, somebody was like, listen, if you need help with your customer service, I don't mind, like, jumping in and even helping you with your email box or whatever, right? But I'm saying, like, I learned what I've done, and just for anybody else on the call that, is starting a business or what I did was I created macros. I created scripts. I created stuff and I used my mess, you know? So I'm like, oops, sorry I made a mess, girl. But da 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 da. And I decided, because it became too emotional for me, where again I was firing back. I was like, girl, what? You like, it was just all of the Brooklyn was in me. And it was just like, I cannot communicate. And to be honest, number one, people already, they want to view us as you're a regular business, quote unquote, even if we are, and maybe that's also a part of this conversation as well. Like, you know, we're Black owned businesses, but yes, I want to be viewed as like that same, you know, standard. And I'm trying my best. So I keep it real calm, cool, collected, and keep it even now. So it's like, if a mess was made, I have two choices. I can either give you back your money, or I could ask if you want to work with me. And if you don't, I've already, a refund was issued. I could block it, end the conversation, and be done. So I put in place like certain blocks. And like, there was one point in time in my emails where I'm like, I couldn't emotionally check them because it would be like too overwhelming, and I knew I would. But again, I didn't even do anything fancy. At one point in time, I had Gorgeous, which is a email system that allows you to like put macros and all that stuff. But I even just started in Word, copy, or my notes, copy. Somebody said a shipping error, copy, paste. But you know, like, those were the standards. And and it became so helpful to navigate the conversations because it took the emotion out of it. And I just sort of feel like sometimes we have to do that, opposed to being so like, this is my baby, this is my business, you ain't gonna talk to me however, you know. But that's just my thought.
No, I agree. I would say, just like, because you guys have all said so much of what I was already thinking, but aside from like, I try to shy away from the conversation of that we got to be 2 times as good, but I do still believe in, when we were younger, we were told that we should dress for the job that we want, and we also have to move that way in business. And so I think that for me, because just fun fact, I don't even know this story, and I'm glad I'm not in the loop on that, because I'll be trying to protect my energy. But I know for us, because what's unique to my business is that everything is custom, right? So we have a high level of communication that I have learned to do, because we have longer turn times depending on what it is that you're purchasing. And so in making mistakes and not communicating enough, to Ashley's point, like, or somebody who said, I over communicate. If something is going to take 10 business days for production, we're sending you the email for pre-production. When it goes into production, we're telling you that it's, you know, we call it still cooking. In about 4 days in, like, we're letting you know it's almost out of production in a few days. It's out of, like, we are over communicating. And also just being willing to take that loss. Like, I do believe in pre-orders for clients that we have that are in the retail space that we print for, but it's all in how you do it. And so, like, have that conversation with them. I believe in under promising and over delivering. And sometimes we're out here like super excited to say, yeah, and I'm gonna get it to the day, whatever day the supplier told you, not giving yourself time for the shipping delays, which is completely out of your control, not giving yourself time for errors that may come with the product when it arrives and you may need to send it back. Like, we need to give ourselves more cushion as we're asking for grace. Like, you can't just want grace, and you also, it's such a like slippery slope, because we live so much on social media, but then we also don't want people to respond to us on social media. And it's like, you got to pick and choose where you're communicating. If you're not communicating with people about business on social, then don't talk to them about it on social. Close your comments. You know, like, there's a lot of different things that you can do. But most importantly, we do have to take a moment to step back, take a deep breath. Even if you don't have, in the beginning when ChatGPT first hit and them clients was saying stuff, and you know, the Chi-Town and me wanted to, you know, I put that energy in chat, and then I was like, take this and create a professional response. That allowed me to get it out of off my system and still handle it in a professional way, because I can't ask you to respect me or view me the way you view For Imprint, but then I'm over here acting like Sherdon, you know? But that's just me.
I say, I would say, hey girl, I'm from Chicago too.
Hey, girl.
We have a comment from Instagram that I think is interesting. Kumba Coffee says, I'm wondering if our accessibility as owners is harming us. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, because I've always felt a way about this, and that there's like a thin line between needing to be the face of your brand and not, right? Because, for example, when you go to Macy's, when you go to Home Depot, when you go to any of these stores, you don't walk in and see the CEO, right? You don't see the CEO in any of the commercials. You don't see them in any of the advertisements, right? You don't see them in the stories. And I never really like to compare us to large companies for obvious reasons. But I think in this case, it helps to make the point, right? Because when we had our retail locations, people would come in, walk in, demanding to see the owner and expecting to see the owner, and be mad when the owner was not there, right? Whereas they would never walk into another establishment and think that way, and feel that way. And so we're always told, yes, you got to put the content on there. You got to be the face of your brand. And for many years, I ran from it. Like, some of our social media managers are on here, on this live, and they can tell you, I did not want to, but it got to a point where I felt like I had to, because people expected to have this connection with the owner. And I just wonder if that's a expectation that we've put on ourselves as Black women-owned brands, or do you think that this is just a misnomer that we need to get away from? What are y'all thoughts?
I don't know that I think we put it on ourselves. I think that it's the era we're in. And I say that coming out of corporate retail, prior to starting my business, that social media wasn't a thing back then, right? And so their focus was commercials. What lent to credibility back then was putting other faces in front, and still to some degree that's the case. But I think social media has created across any brand, because I see some the major brands that are doing 50 million, that are still newly developed, maybe fresh out of Shark Tank or something like that, and they are still too very much in their content. I just think that they also do a good job of highlighting that it's more than just them. Is it definitely an unfair advantage that happens to Black founders in every category? Absolutely. Like, I'm not dismissing that at all. But I do think that just offering other faces, or even sometimes with people who will that know me personally, and they may send somebody my personal cell about business, and I'm like, hey, thanks for reaching out. Let me give you the numbers to the office. Contact my customer service manager. Michelle is happy to help you, or email this, and Christy. Like, I'm reminding them that I am no longer a solopreneur. But so many times we start as solopreneurs that it's just like this catch-22. What are you supposed to do? Like, either you're going to be the face of your brand because you're the only face, or you're going to have a faceless brand.
Yeah. And I think a big part of this conversation, and I hope that those watching and just others who may see this receive this with the love that it is given. But people also need to learn how to be customers, right? Like, the same way that we need to learn how to run businesses, people need to learn how to be customers. As a customer, you have rights. You are definitely able to have expectations, but you do not have the wherewithal to talk to people any kind of way, to treat people any kind of way, to put unrealistic expectations. Like, if you purchase something and you are not happy with it, you have the right to reach out to the business. If you feel like you have been frauded, you have the right to contact your bank. Like, but you just because we are small businesses, just because we are solopreneurs or have been at some point, whatever the case might be, as a customer, doesn't give you the right to come at us any kind of way. So while I think there is responsibility on us as the business owner, absolutely, there's accountability, there's grace that's needed, but it's true. And so I have found myself, number one, having to say, I think somebody said, treat people, Ashley, I think like you got to treat people how to teach you, teach people how to treat you. But the same way that people say, oh, we got to give the business grace. Yes, we sometimes have to give the customers grace because they just don't know how to be customers. Right. And that's when you have
my only thing is what's stopping you from just talking to another human being like a human being? That's for me where I'm like, okay, now hold on, where did we lose the plot here? Because I understand being frustrated, the same like McCain, like I get all of that, and that's fine. But where's the line between, like, am I no longer a human being now because you don't have your t-shirt yet?
Yeah.
Like when did I now become scum of the earth because the UPS hasn't updated the scan on your tracking number? That's all I'm just trying to figure out.
Absolutely valid, right? It's almost like they treat us like the object that they're purchasing. Or like the service that they're purchasing. Us meaning our businesses, but businesses are run by humans.
Yeah.
Right? Businesses are run by people with feelings, with families, with emotions, with the same challenges of life that you are facing. So I think this conversation is just as important for the business owners as it is for the consumers, because that's, to me, is where the real change happens, right? When number one, we teach businesses how to be more efficient, how to be more accountable, how to put processes and systems in place. But when we also teach customers how to treat people with respect and be human and have human kindness. Go ahead.
I agree. Like, I would love for us to have, dig a little bit deeper on what I like to say, like how to be a Black consumer, because people are always telling us how to be a Black business owner, and it's like, let's talk about how to be some good consumers. And I'm always down for that conversation because, like I said, I think there's a consumer brain and then there's a business brain. And in what I do, like I said, because most of my clients are business owners, they definitely still put on that consumer brain when talking to me, and they don't give me the same grace that they're asking for or that I see them talking about on social media. So it's just like, I want I'm team, everybody got a role to play in this, like I need to recognize that everything is not a loss, it's a learn, like, because I made some mistakes for sure. And that's why, we are where we are today. Each and every last one of us, we have learned from those mistakes, but we do have to start having like some super honest conversations about, like she said, how consumers talk to us, because whether you're talking directly to the owner or, because there's been times I've heard customers talking to my team and I'm like, tag me in, coach, like I'm ready to not give you buck for my people, right? So it's like, but I think also coming out of corporate retail and just realizing that, or at least selling to myself, that sometimes it ain't got nothing to do with you. They was already having a day, they were already pissed, and piling on top of that, they were excited about said order coming for Christmas or whatever. Like that was the highlight of their day. And then they got to notice that it wasn't coming. And that just shut the whole crap down, And so, like, to her point earlier about scripts, I think that's the power of like being prepared. Like sometimes people just want to hear what you can do, not what you can't do. But on the flip side, it should be the same way with consumers. Like, go take a deep breath too before you come over here yelling and talking to me any kind of way or expecting more of me for less. Like that's usually my biggest pet peeve. You want more for less, and this ain't pay less. So
I would even add that 9 out of 10, it never has anything to do with us, really and truly, because I don't want to believe, or I have that naivete as Kalila says that her partner says all the time, is that like, I don't want to believe that people are just out the gate, just genuinely nasty people, right? Like I never want to believe that. So I really don't think that like 9 out of 10 that has anything to do with us. Like even the situation we were talking about before, like I think a lot of those videos just came because people saw, and again, the name of the game right now for everyone is go viral. And so they saw that this conversation was picking up traction and they wanted to get in on the traction, right? But I don't think that inherently people are just nasty people and wake up and want to be nasty, right? So to your point, I agree. I think that most times it doesn't have anything to do with us. It's very hard to not internalize that when they're like calling you names and, you know, especially when you know what you've sacrificed, right? I think that is the bigger part. Like I'm with everybody that says like we can't control them. It's our our reaction that and all of the I agree, right? We can only control how we react to those things, and I agree. But I think that when you are speaking to a mom who understands that she didn't go to her son's soccer game to make sure that you got your order and then gets talked to crazy because your order just hasn't been scanned in the next city yet, or UPS came and picked it up, but they just didn't scan it, when they got it to their like warehouse, or whatever the mix up or delay or whatever it might be, that just feels crazy because you knew what you sacrificed to get here. I think that's the part really. Because I think honestly, on a regular day to day, it's like most of us will just let it fly, let it fly, let it fly. It's fine. But when you think about somebody being postpartum and then dealing with a massive pylon, how that feels internally. And thankfully, I don't even think she was the one answering her emails. But if you are a solopreneur, then you are the one seeing all of those things.
So I wanted to add like two things that I was just thinking about. One, just in regards to the conversation around the buyer, the our customers. So from what I've gotten, for the most part, like more latter, not at the beginning, I've had people who were really like kind of either kind or like they tried to give me quote unquote grace. I do hate when it's like it starts to bring up like you're a black owned, you're a black woman, and I've tried to support you. Like that pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say so two things. Like one, I'm like, it feels as if, and this is where the bigger conversation just around maybe capital and money and certain things and access comes into play, because I think that a lot, especially now in the game, us with the numbers, 6 years, 10 years and all that, I feel like customers understand for the most part. I mean, you got some that don't, that they know we're not Amazon. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it comes to the point where some feel as if like I've ordered, and I know all of us on this have ordered from somebody, and where it was like, bro, I've been waiting 30 days and it was supposed to be, and like not just, and it was a crazy deliver time and everything else. And so I think that some of the conversation, like I've been trying to find like a balance between like give me grace and like am I dropping the ball, like
Mm-hmm.
as the owner, because or as the business, because
Mm-hmm.
there are some times in which, and so I've had to have that talk with myself about holding people accountable, and I leave it alone, especially like I could have dragged somebody who was a black woman who did something horrible and I was pregnant, it was a disaster, but I said I didn't, and unfortunately she might have went on to do it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that becomes, like sort of the thing. And so I just say all of that. It is a hard balance to think about like what things we say something about, what things I've had people who came to me one-on-one and was like, hey, I'm holding your hand while saying this. You got to get better with blah, 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 blah. And sometimes I still ain't receive it, till later on. It was like, all right, I get what they say, like it takes me a minute. Like y'all got, it takes me a minute. But I understood it later. So that was one thing. The second thing that I wanted to say, and again, I had to learn this and I got out my feelings. It was a little bit about what Ashley said, right? About like, I missed my son's soccer game. I did this, I did that, right? I had to realize, so I did something wild in the beginning, like maybe my, fourth or fifth year. I used to do wild things within my business. When I say wild, it was Christmas and I went door to door like Santa friggin' Claus, knocking on people's doors in DC to deliver their packages because I knew it wasn't gonna get there on time. Who do I think I was? Like, what are you doing? Like, it was the most bizarre, unnecessary thing that and stressful thing that I put on me to like deliver. Like, no. And like those type, and then like, I got a whole book. I need to really sit down and write this book because I literally, my car ended up getting a flat tire. I was far away from home, like just a whole bunch of mess. And that I put myself in just because I thought that going quote unquote over and beyond was like giving me these extra like stripes. And so I had to really, again, become a little bit numb to my business to the point where not that I wasn't sensitive and caring, but I told myself, you cannot do that to yourself anymore. Because it was being unkind to me just because I wanted to like prove that I was like entrepreneur of the year. And it was like, nobody care. Like the packages that still ain't get there, they ain't care. Like, like they still mad at me. So it just was like, I had to remove that and stop, like, do your best. Like, that's what I told myself. Do my best closer to the holidays, do my best when it came, and not miss out on shit that I'm going to regret because I was like grinding for the business. Because the people, they at night, they with their kids, they doing what they got to do, like they're enjoying. So I had to set those things and kind of take that off of my heart to feel like I had to like, put on a cape all the time when it came to my business, because that's more pressure that I was creating for me than the customer was probably creating for me. So that's just something I want to add, that I definitely learned some hard lessons down the line. And that's why systems and getting really efficient with your business and making sure some business acumen is like in there so that you're not doing those things just based on emotion.
Yes, I completely agree. I think the overarching thing for sure, that I've learned like through just a lot of this and kind of having a backseat and watching other situations is like, we really can only control what we can do. That's it. Like, we really only can control what we can do. We can speak honestly and truly until we're blue in the face about how people should be better customers. And it's true, right? Just as much as we have things to work on as entrepreneurs, people absolutely can be better customers. But we can never control if they're going to be better customers. We can only control us as entrepreneurs. And for some people, if it gets too hectic and it gets too out of hand, they may decide, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And that is absolutely their right and their prerogative. And so I think that's, for me, that's kind of like my takeaway from all of this is like, control what you can, be the best, founder of this business until you can, make the money so that you can have a team, so that you don't even have to see that stuff, right? Now, again, of course, if it's a viral thing happening on social media, you can't miss it. But then in that case, have enough money so that you can, or hopefully have enough money so that you can have a PR person handle it or tell you how to spin it or help you figure out how to maneuver and move through it, right? And I know that part is hard because scaling is hard, especially for us, because we all know the statistic. We've heard it until we've said it and heard it until we are blue in the face. We get less than 1%, right? And so we have to just figure out a way to scale in a way that is beneficial to us, beneficial to our business, beneficial to our customers, so that we don't have to continue to do that pre-order model, so that when they order, we have our team of people ready to ship it. And then we can really start moving like these other businesses move and deal with those issues less and less. But what it really boils down to is money and controlling what we can control and nothing else.
Yeah.
And I think communication is a big part of what we can control, like
100%.
being very upfront, because I still do mostly pre-orders. In the beginning, I did pre-orders, and then I had enough capital to bring products in and ship immediately. But I am over communicating how long this is going to take. It's on the product page. It is at the at checkout. It is in your order confirmation. Like, you will know, you have been well communicated with about how long this is going to take. And if it's taking longer, especially when it's something that I have a handle on, if it's coming to me directly and I'm shipping it out, I'm gonna, like, I have to send an email to customers by the end of this week, like, hey, this is taking longer than I expected, or I'm waiting a little bit longer because I want to get all of this stuff shipped at the same time. So I don't want to pay two sets of shipping. So, and I just let people know, like, and I'll be honest, like, out of the thousands of orders I've had, I really only have like maybe two handfuls of customers that were upset about the wait, or complained about the wait or whatever, because I like really over communicate, and I try to do my best with that, because like, what would I want? I try to communicate with people exactly the way that I would expect them to. So somebody is upset about something, if they didn't get something, and if they're rude to me, I'm like, okay, well, this person clearly has an issue. How do I get them? How do I bring them back down to where I am? Like, how do I get that anger level to come back down so that we're not yelling at each other via email? So I always do my best to like communicate as calmly and, chill as possible to bring them back down, so we're not like, but it hasn't happened that often. So
Something else that Michaela just said that's really key is looking at the numbers. Like I had to, when I realized that I was getting worked up around the 1%, like if 95% of my customers, like, and that's something that when my operations manager used to really, assess, was like, what is the rate of, like lost shipment, or what, like, having like a loss mitigation, and or any type of issues with the packages or whatever. Like, look at the numbers. So if I'm stuck here giving my energy and getting upset at like the 5%, 10%, like, you have to give yourself that room. And so I had to tell myself, if 100 orders, out of that, at least 80, 85% is cool. What am I, and if it's me by myself doing all these orders, I'm like, I have to know that if a 10%, 8%, and all I try to do anyway is, again, get better with it. So the numbers matter. I think sometimes even in this conversation, if we look at the numbers around how much we're either having customers that are riding for us and doing well, we probably will like not be as like, focused on that small percentage that might be complaining.
Yeah, I would just say really quickly, just to kind of put a bow on it for consumers though, like I often say that customer service costs money. And what I mean by that is, in order to have exceptional customer service, you have to have trainings, you have to develop SOPs, you have to hire people, and all of that costs money. And so when you have grace for the people who have an endless amount of money and they still don't give you customer service, like the McDonald's, the Walmarts, I'm gonna say it is what it is. Like, they have the money to give you exceptional customer service, and that is not where they choose to invest those dollars. So I'm not saying to excuse a small business of any race or group, of like, not holding them accountable, or at least expecting good communication, but just understand that customer service costs money. And if we don't have the support, if people aren't constantly shopping with us and referring us, and not waiting till, we on here like we about to close, to all of a sudden want to jump in and help us out, like, it needs to be a consistent role of support so you can consistently see the elevation. And I hope across all of us, people can say, like, and I've had customers say, like, I remember, not from like a good or bad customer service, but just remembering like how I did things year 1 through 5 versus the experiences that they have with us now. And they're excited to watch us grow. But just understand that customer service costs.
Yeah. I'm excited about this conversation, because I feel like It's the most solution oriented discussion about this topic that I've seen over the last few weeks, right? So we've offered solutions for the business owners. We've also, things that can be put into place, things that should be taken into consideration. The same for the customers, and I think that's where and how we will begin to really see a shift, or hopefully less instances of these times when businesses are just attacked or customers feel neglected, right? It's only when we begin to move the needle towards solution. And so if I were in a class, I would have like some point. I should have asked Professor Kalila to bring us a whiteboard, right? So we could get the points that have been talked about here, so that we can apply them, right, to our businesses, but also to our personhoods as consumers. So we know, right, like what happens, unfortunately, when these things don't happen. We've seen it time and time again. We saw it in Hanifa's post about her pausing. We've seen it with several of us who are part of this panel, right? Where our businesses have either closed or paused or downsized or downgraded, right? And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of Black women-owned businesses closing. I want to talk about that for a little bit, and then we're gonna wrap this up, right? Because we're trying to be out here all night. We mamas, and
Yes, I'm like, I
we got
gotta
work to
run
do.
soon.
Yes, yes. So I say probably about 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. Real quick. Why are so many of our businesses closing? Besides these things that we have talked about, and is there anything that we can do or should do?
Funding.
That's a loaded
Aside from
question.
that, I had it on my paper. We all know lack of capital is number one, right? It's a given. So with that, with knowing that, how do we respond? What do we do?
I feel like we talked about this in the group chat, but I feel like there are like waves of popularity for businesses. And if you're not constantly in front of people, um, and by constantly in front of people, I don't mean just you as a founder or you, the business, but like other people are talking about your business online, other people are sharing your business online. If that isn't happening, and obviously we don't have capital for running ads all the time and having a business only because of ads. Like we need those extra shares. We need everybody talking about our businesses in order to keep it going, because in 2021, 2022, like when people were online and sharing and everything was happening, like my business was booming. Okay, it wasn't just me sharing, everybody was sharing, everybody was excited, and that was like the high wave. And now I'm child, like ain't no wave. We in the low, I can see the bottom of the water at this point, ain't no wave. So
Yeah.
the popularity is gone, so people aren't talking about it as much, and then now the orders aren't coming in, and we're struggling. So it's just like you just got to keep talking about the things that you love, the businesses you love. You just got to keep talking about it.
Thank you.
I
We're
would
getting a lot of agreement in the comments. Go ahead.
no, which aligns with what I'm seeing in the comments. But what I was gonna say is, we just gotta be what we need. And again, I am like a service-based business that has a product, and so like I hate to feel like I'm like beating a dead horse around this, but I find that in some cases, not most or all, just sometimes, once we elevate and gain a certain level of popularity or visibility, when we look back outside of employing people, which is super important, but where are you spending your dollars? Like, I'm always cautious of asking people to spend money with me if my money not recycling back into my community, right? So like, is your bookkeeper Black? Is your lawyer Black? Is, like when there's certain supplies you need, are you checking to see if there's another small business, Black owned business that you can purchase these things from, versus waiting until you in a crunch and now you want to lean into the small business or whatever. And so I think that's just like equally important. And even in being that for other people, like if your name is popping, use that time to also celebrate others. You know, I think that's something that you do an amazing job of, Aisha. Like I'm constantly learning about other Black businesses because of you. Even in your challenges, you still show up, you still use your platform to promote other Black women owned businesses. And I know that's your brand, but I also know that that is who you are. And I also think that's why you will continue to be able to pivot and reinvent yourself. And so I just think it's important for us to be what we need.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Did anybody else want to add anything on that?
I wanted to kind of ask a question, and maybe to us and the viewers is, how do we get people to want to share our things more? Because I 100% agree, Michaela. I feel like people do that. It's like no brainer for people to do that for brands that they deem popular, like you said. But it is very hard to do that for, so if it's, an influencer or a brand that they feel like they'll get, clout is not the right word, but that they want to be reposted by, that they would like to have like some like affiliation with, then they'll do it. But what can we do? And maybe viewers, you can, like you can tell us if there's something that, if you, something that you see specifically that you're like, oh, I want to repost that, that would make you repost it. Like, how do we become those brands that regardless of where the business is in popularity, we're putting out things that are repostable regardless, like, or across the board?
That is such a good question. That is such a good question. And what I was thinking when Michaela was talking was that I blame this problem on influencer culture to a degree. Because while it was a thing, it was not what it is now back, like you said, in 2021, 2022, when people were just sharing off of the fact that it was just some dope stuff, right? But now people equate a share with a check, right? And whether they got 1 million followers or 100, like everybody wants to be paid, everybody wants to be an influencer. And I'm not saying not get to your bag, but I'm just saying that whatever happened to just the generic organic sharing because you like something, because you love something. And I feel like we need to get back to that. Like a lot of people have tagged and commented collaboration. I think that's another big piece of it too. But also just not thinking that the only way you can show love or support for something is if you are being paid. Because when you go buy, you meaning whomever goes to buy that new Coach bag or that new whatever, they that's not a brand deal. You just showing a bag because you like it. And we celebrate people that we will never see, that ain't thinking about us, that we, they may or may not get a brand deal from. They share those without expectation. But if it's a smaller brand or one that is not luxury, as people like to call it, then there's, they may buy it, they may wear it. Like I have had people wear our stuff. We talked about this in the group chat too. Celebrities with major platforms wear our stuff and not even do so much as tag it. They're wearing it in the video and won't tag it. Like,
Or
to
they
me,
tell you, sorry.
Go ahead. I
was gonna say, or they tell you, like I've had a few people tell me, oh, I wear my hoodie all the time. Girl, I didn't know you had one. How about that?
So
Like,
can I? So what I just want to like kind of end with and share is, and I know it's not the easiest thing, and I have found in some sense I'm very careful with this, but the honesty of like some of what we're going through, right? So I think that I'm not going to say that like the consumers don't know, but some of it is that I just don't even think that they possibly understand. And I don't think that like, because we're in this influencer culture of things, I think we're still like, even though posts aren't curated anymore, and like it's not the pretty picture, it's still not the honest like conversations, and most of the time like people just aren't still ready for the honest conversation. But I do think that One, I think that as brands and as founders, we have to start getting maybe a little bit more honest and like continuing to like talk to our audience and like tell them like almost like damn near what we need. What I need you to do is I need you to not just look at this post and like it, but I actually need you to share, because that's how my business will continue to thrive and grow. And that's how I feed my family. Like it's damn near down to that part. And I know some of us, we do that. And, you know, and we got to continue doing that, because there's just like so many things I feel like going on right now that it is a little bit out of sight, out of mind. And people are like, well, you know, whatever, like, you know, but I think that if we're just a little bit more honest with where we are, I'm hopeful that it'll continue to like just push our businesses forward and, you know, get people to like notice and be like, oh shit, let me, you know, like, let me share this, let me talk about it. And the last thing that I will also add though too is like, I developed like a community of these amazing women that's on this call, because I wanted a place that I could be honest. And I would just tell any other entrepreneur who is like going through, you know, entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is ebbs and flows, to build a community, even if it's one other person, two other, you know, like a place that you could really, really be honest and say like, hey, I'm down. I need some ideas. I need somebody to bounce off of. I need somebody to just talk to, and somebody that is going to understand what you're going through. And I just want to share that, because I think sometimes it gets really lonely, and not just because, but because everyone is consumed in their own shit and in their own mess. And so, you know, and I know it can be taxing on your creativity, on your mind, on your heart, like all of those things. It gets really rough. So I just want to, you know, make sure that I'm saying that out loud to other people. You know, don't suffer in silence. I think there was within the last like 2 years, and I mean, like things are rough. I've seen people lose their homes. I've seen people like lose their family damn near. Like things are behind the scenes for a lot of people crumbling really bad, and it is hard. So, you know, I just encourage everyone to find a community and a space that you feel comfortable in being honest.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I would just say really quickly, just to businesses, as you're in that growth stage, because in the beginning, I maintain what you did in the beginning throughout the entire process. And what I mean by that is like, as much as we want you to post and share our stuff for the small businesses that are out here that are just starting or in the early stages, the way you get excited when somebody tags you and you reshare, have that same energy the entire time. Like once you get to the point where there's some celebrity rocking your stuff, don't forget the everyday people who supported you in the beginning, because you know that's really who's keeping your doors open, right? I know for me, with all these corporate clients, who's keeping my doors open or who got me to the point where corporate even saw me was those small businesses. So in every turn, I'm posting them, I'm tagging them, I'm mentioning what they do, like I'm reposting if they tag us. Like I want you to get shine as you're giving us shine. And so just remembering that, like, you're never too big for the program. Okay.
Absolutely. All right. So we are going to wrap up. The hour is late. We all mamas. So y'all know we extra tired over here, and still got to do other things. But I just want to thank these ladies for being a part of this conversation. Obviously, there's so much more that could be said. Perhaps we'll do some other installments of it. We're not going to beat a dead horse, but I really feel good that we left some good, actionable things that can be considered to help close this gap between customer and business. And just as Black women on brands, I think one of the most important things that we need to remember is to not lose yourself in becoming and being an entrepreneur, and that you are more than your business. God did not create you just to own that business and do nothing else. And so that if at ever it comes to a point where it's not working, you still have value, you still have gifts, you still have talents, there's still more for you to do, and that it ain't over till God says it's over. So before we go, ladies, can you just share any updates you would like the people to know, anything you're working on, anything they can check out on your website, follow you, any sales you're having, just anything that you want to share, and then we will wrap up. Ashley, you go first.
Sure. You guys can get these really cool slouchy beanies if you head over to my Instagram. My Instagram is EYECONICASH, and everything is linked there in the bio. Can't wait to see you all soon.
Thank you. Sherdon?
Yeah, we're She Printed on all platforms, and we recently developed a different offering to support startups and smaller businesses to make sure that they can still have visibility with our SheEO boxes. And so you can go to SheEOBox.com, and we've created bundles so that even the solopreneur or even team gifts, you have brandable things so you can be a walking billboard for your business.
Thank you. Michaela?
Hey, so I'm actually having a sale right now through the end of the month on my pre-orders for athleisure. So if you like comfortable, colorful clothing, I design super bold prints for hoodies and track jackets and joggers, yoga pants. I think there's about 8 or 9 different prints available right now in all 4 of those styles. They're 15% off right now if you buy a full set using the app on the one page, then you get 20% off. I also have tote bags coming in stock soon. This is my favorite one that I have right now. I should have them by the end of the week, hopefully, that I can ship out immediately. So that is another thing I'm working on. And my ready to wear is coming back hopefully by next month. Yeah, that's all I
And
got.
what's the website?
Oh, sorry. dressedandjoy.com.
There we go. Justinjoy.com. All right. And Kalila?
I'm working on a running line for Mess in a Bottle right now, and you could find that on messinabottle.com.
All right. And for me, I don't know. Listen, y'all can go shop. Y'all can go shop the merch. Okay, dear Black women, you are more than enough. You can go shop this and many other designs at sibexposhop.com. We are currently in a rebranding because, as we talked about, you got to be able to reinvent. But you can find it if you go to that URL. So wait, let me first put up Mess in a Bottle because I got to make sure y'all see that. Okay. And then you can go to sibexposhop.com as well to shop merch, and many things are marked down as well. So if you want to shop, great. We ain't having no events, so no, we're not having no expos. We don't have no retail stores, and I'm okay with that because I am not monolithic, and God created me to do many things. And so I'm excited about this new season of freedom that has found me of no longer being enthralled in the sisters in business world. But God knows that Sisters in Business forever has my heart, and I will always rock for my sisters. Thank y'all so much for joining us tonight. Ladies, I love you like a fat kid love cake. And everybody have a great night. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, remember, there's nothing that can happen to you that you and God can't handle. Put it in his capable hands and watch him work it out. I'll see y'all later.
Amen.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.